Hi everyone, thank you for joining me to talk about Revizto 5 standards in this Revizto learning session. My name is Travis, and today we're going to be covering all of the different reasons why and how to set up standards in Revizto. Opening Revizto 5 for the first time can be very daunting. There's a lot of options, there's a lot of power in this tool, and it's really important to enable your team members to use it as effectively as possible by setting company standards and not only setting them and making people use them, but setting them and continuing to develop them. So today we're going to go through a list. I'll give you this list at the end of the session, and we're going to set up these standards in Revizto 5. So the first thing you're going to notice when you open up Revizto 5 and jump into the 3D section is it's going to prompt you to select which models you want to load. So this isn't necessarily a standard, but it is something you might want to practice if you have field users or shop users or something, or mobile users who are trying to use it on an iPad and you don't want them to use all of their computer resources to load maybe a point cloud or an architectural model or a heavily detailed mechanical model. And basically we can choose which models we want it to load in here. And once we get it to how we want, like maybe this is how I want my team as the MEP team to see this, and I could go ahead and come up here and save this as a new MEP preset. And here you can see I already had one, so it added a 1 to it. You could also do this in a different way. So here you can see I set ones up with duct only. I've set them up with pipe only. You could set it up as just architectural if you're viewing it in VR with the owner or something. He just wants to see how the building is going to look. But keep in mind, you can set these presets to make life a little bit quicker and easier for you. So we're going to go ahead and click Load Selected Links. That's going to launch us into Revizto, into the 3D section. As far as getting started with your standards and actually kind of building the blocks, so to speak, because that's a very important thing here, is you're going to want to take this bit by bit and build it from the ground up. The first and most usable thing that you're going to want to set up for your company is your favorites. So the big key to Revizto here is that you're always going to have access to the parameters in your parts. So you can see here I can click on different ones, and my default isn't very helpful as far as my favorites. But I can come down through here and I can find all different settings. Like here I can see plumbing, sanitary waste. I can see what type it is. I can see its invert elevation. I can see the system. The system class is always a big one to add. But basically when you get one that you like and you want to add to your favorites, you just click Add to Favorites here. And then it's going to prompt you to set a new preset. So maybe this one is for piping specifically or something, So I put up my favorite preset is piping. And then I can also add my abbreviation. I can add that invert elevation. I can add the diameter. If you want to see insulation, you can add that up there. So I can see this has 2-inch insulation. I can also go to constraints. I can see different levels. I can see bottom elevation, middle elevation, that type of stuff. But you can start building your favorites list out. And everything that I did there is automatically saved into this piping preset, which is shared off to the rest of the team. So now the whole team can come in here, select the piping preset, and this is going to drive your tooltip. So I'm going to be able to hover over stuff and see all of that information that I added. And then I can also just switch right back to, let's go back to the field preset that I had already set up. And you can see that's going to add even more presets. So build this out. Use this as your starting point. These are your building blocks to everything. This is what everybody's going to use to search. This is what they're going to use to color stuff. If you want to find a sanitary system, once you have it added into your favorites, it's as easy as clicking Create New Search, saying Find All, and clicking this button to get a sanitary isometric. And let's turn off our pins and everything. And I have my school colors applied here, so I made a sanitary isometric but I also have my spool template turned on. So if I want to walk a riser or anything like that, check where my field weld locations are, I can check that. That's going to be one of the other standards we set up, our different appearance templates. So keep in mind, as you're doing this, you'll be able to flip through different ways of viewing the model, and I'll show that in a little bit. But in this case, if I want to click on this, let's say I want to find a specific spool, I can say create new search, and it automatically fills this out, and I say find all. And again, if I want an ISO of that spool, there I've got it. And so that's all just driven off of this favorites list. That's why this is imperative to set this up first. Before you let anybody else use your project at all, go through and just part by part, essentially, select what's important. You know, there's going to be parameters in different places, and as I hover over this, you'll notice it'll automatically cut them out if they don't exist. So that list should be shorter than this. Yeah, this one continues on down because there's some parameters missing. But build this list out as comprehensively as you possibly can so that if you want to find stuff quickly, it's as easy as doing this from your favorites. And again, I can ISO that. These favorites are also going to drive the parameters in your selection inspector, which drives what you actually output to Excel. So if I wanted to, like right now, I just isolated all the CI no-hub short sweep no-hub by no-hub elbows in the project. Here's the list, and I can export that right directly into Excel. And this, again, your favorites that you add at the very beginning before anybody gets into the project are what show up across the top in your stuff. I want to start making this a little bit more inclusive and comprehensive. So there we just set things as favorites, and as you see, I'm adding that to a search over here and then searching for it, which is adding a few clicks. So to redo what I just did there with my search set standards, starting to think about my search set standard setup, basically, I can right click on sanitary, create a search set out of that. See how that automatically filled this out? I could just click this button up here and save that as a search set. And now I'm going to call this sanitary system. And you could put this under, like I have mine under piping systems. And I can say OK. And there again, I already had one made, so you see it added a number 1 to it. But now instead of a foreman or somebody having to come in here and double click on this and find this through a search that way, we could just teach them, you click this button, you click sanitary system, you click this button. And now I have a sanitary isometric with, again, my spool colors applied. So if somebody wants to walk this and see where multi-trade racks are going to line up or anything like that, we can also turn on hangers in this and be able to really inspect our stuff all isolated simply from making a search set. As you can see, if I click over here, all that's doing is running this. And that's another important thing here, is that Revizto 5 adds these search sets. There's a big difference between a search set and a selection set. What this is doing every single time you update the model or run this search set is it's looking through your parameters to find anything that has this as a system classification. The difference between that and a selection set is that a selection set is going to look something like this. It's actually something you have selected. And I could save this off. I could add condition and add what I currently have selected. And you can see that's a custom selection. So if this gets deleted from the model's not going to be smart about it. It's just going to go away and not have like the parts that were actually there. Whereas this is going to be comprehensive and get everything, regardless of when it's updated, that has a system classification of sanitary. This will only get these parts. So keep that in mind also. That's a very important thing going forward with search sets. The power of these search sets, once you start building them out, and we only got 15 minutes today, so we're not going to build these out together. I will send a template to anybody who would like it after this webinar with where I have gotten to myself already. As you can see, I can do like domestic hot water, and I can just click on that real quick, click down here, there's my hot water system. Go to cold water, click down here, there's my cold water system. So you can see over here what's happening. All I did was set up different searches from my parameters here. So I said right click, create new search, save as search set. And then I built this list. And I would like to be even more comprehensive than I have been. I have like copper, I have, the different systems, I have fittings. I can grab all my fittings in the job real quick. There's 3,833 of them. If I click that, there's some stuff that's misclassified also, but I grabbed a ton of fittings. There's an interesting pipe. But you could see how I just started making these on a granular level. They're like Lego blocks. The reason that's important is because I could do my domestic cold water again. I'm going to isolate that again. But let's say I only want to look at like a specific area of that domestic cold water. Let's say I want to look, this is like the northwest of the building. Let's say I want to look at that. I can say add condition, section box, and then I can make a section box around that area. So here I got my section box made, and I say done. And then I can actually use that to search for domestic cold water in this area. So I say find all, and there you see I only got 88. And if I uncrop this, you'll see I only selected what's in that area. If you start doing this, what I would propose, if this is going to be a section you use often, I'd drop this cold water out of here, and then I would save this as an area search set. So let's call this, area D. And I can save area D, and let's put that in our root folder. So root folder just means it's going to go down at the bottom, and it's not going to be shared with the rest of the team. You have to put these things in a folder for them to be shared with the team. But if we come down here, and now I can say, now instead of using that section box, this becomes really easy. I select what I want to see. So if I want sleeves, I select sleeves, and then I can select that area as a search set now. So again, imagine being somebody who's not used to using 3D, not used to navigating this stuff. Now they're doing it from a list. We're giving them a list and saying, what do you want to find and where? And I'm saying, I want to find these pipe sleeves, and I want to find them in area D. And hopefully we've got some in here. I say find all. It did find some. There's 28 of them. I can isolate those in transparency real easily. You can see them down there. Or I can fully isolate them. But there they are. Those are my pipe sleeves in area D. And if I go to this list up here that I showed in my QTO lesson, here's my whole list of them that I can push into Excel. And you see there's 28 of them. So again, let's take this off and take a step back, and I'll put this in transparency so you can see it pick up the other ones. But if I drop this area D out and run it, now there's 516. And I can just start swapping stuff in. I can come in here and I can say search set, and we're going to go this area B1, find all. There's 62 of them there. I use this list to find where they are. I just click this little play button, and there we are. So again, it's really important to set these search sets up on a granular level to where you can plug in different things. Like again, if I want to, instead of sleeves, if I want pipe, I come in and I grab a search set that I say ABS pipe, find all. And there I grabbed all the ABS pipe specifically in this area. So again, the best thing I can say as you approach this, because they're going to be unique to each job, but it's going to be the same mindset. So approach it as granular as possible. You can bring the ABS pipe and all these other ones that you spend time making, but you're going to remake the area ones per job. And I highly recommend taking the time to do this. I mean, as you can see, if you add this area now, a PM or a foreman or whatever can start to get to what they need to in list form, real quick and easy, without navigating the 3D. Also, keep in mind, as you start using this a lot more, you can do triple compound things. I can come in here and add a search set and let's add a floor. Let's add level 14. So now I'm looking at area B, level 14 pipe. Find all. There's only 3 pieces in there. And again, I use this to navigate, get over to those pieces. And there I'm looking at the pipe, area B, ABS pipe on level 14. And you can always save these compound searches also. I can say, area B, level 14, ABS. And now that's in there. And again, if I reset my home and everything, I can come down here and click on that button. And there it automatically selected those 3 pipes. And I use this to get over to the pipe to look at it. And here I want to uncrop this. But there you go. One of the last things I want to touch on here, and this is going to deserve its own 15-minute webinar, but this is the culmination of all of this work that we've done. And that is displaying your model in all different colors with our appearance templates. So the way that I actually did my spool template that you guys saw early on was, here I'm going to go ahead and run this and open my appearance profiler so you can see what I did. I used different search sets, and I'll show these search sets also real quick. So basically I said if the spool tag ends in 0, so wildcard *0 means ends in 0, then that's a search set. And here you can see I did the same for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And this can work with, wall assemblies, line numbers with conduit. There's all different ways to set this up. But here you can see I use spool numbers on the pipe. And then I just simply said if it ends in 1, pink. If it ends in 0, green. 2, blue. And went down the list that way. And that's how I'm coloring my pipe every time. So this is a very smart way to display your model in that it updates automatically every time for the end user. And if the end user wants to see it a different way, here I'm going to you can right click in Revizto 5 and you can also unload everything but your model so we can have a nice clear isometric. But let's say they're looking at our piping isometric. This is all of our piping and plumbing in the job. And I'm going to come up here and run system colors instead. And here you can see, now I can see all my stuff in system color. So I can grab onto one of these hot or cold lines and walk the line. And be able to check hanger locations. Here you can see with this one I made my hangers bright green. I always messed hangers up, so I wanted to be able to see that nice and neat. You can see here I also added some other colors. It doesn't have to just be what you see here. This is why at the beginning I said it's important to set up your standard, but it's even more important to keep your standards growing. So you might get a job with a whole new system in it. Make sure you add that to your standard. Make sure you update your standards each project as you go. And again, if I go back to spool template, you see this is different. And then also with Revizto 5, this will also be another standalone webinar, but I can start tracking installation. So here I've actually put in a custom parameter into all different parts, and anything that's green you can see is installed. So I can walk over here and be able to view what's installed. I can snap back to system colors and see that's waste and vent, and I can snap back to my spool template to see how it was spooled up. So this is just simply your search sets, using those compound search sets. Again, maybe here I'm going to clear this out, and maybe I want to use one of those search sets that we made earlier, and we'll use that area B level 14 ABS, and I could come in here and make this bright green, apply that, and now I should be able to walk around. And yeah, there was only three pieces in that search set if you remember, but there it is. And I can add another one and come in and say, let's say I want everything in riser 10. I want everything in riser 10 to be red. Let's say apply. There you see I can quickly see riser 10 over there. But you can see how you just start building this off of your favorites, then your search sets, and then these appearance profiles. And then your end user They don't need to know any of the stuff we covered in this last 15. It looks like we're going to be about 20 minutes on this. But they don't need to know any of that. We just teach them, hey, come in here and click that button if you want to see the install status. You want to see how it's spooled up, click that button. You want to see system colors, that button, you know. And if you remember from the very beginning, they're already going to have loaded up what they should have loaded. So if I don't want them to see point clouds, they don't need to see point clouds. If I don't want them to see the architectural, they don't need to. And then they can also maneuver over to this stuff. So I can click on an object and say, focus on this object, and it looks like it's on the floor above. And there, if they want to go look at a point cloud or something in a room, they can easily do that. So hopefully everybody gathered something from this Revizto learning session about standards in Revizto 5. I think it's very important to set it up. It's very important to set it up from the beginning and grow it organically to your needs in your company. That said, I'll provide a document for everybody to kind of help you through these steps. And I'll also, if you reach out, I can give you a little starting block of kind of where these are at. So again, I hope this was helpful for everybody. Have a great one.